What's up everyone, welcome to the channel. This is Living in Alberta and today we're going to look at some of the more popular neighborhoods to live in South Red Deer. Again, caveat to this, just because the neighborhood isn't on this video doesn't mean that it's not a great neighborhood. There is a ton of great neighborhoods to live in South Red Deer. Depending on who you talk to, most people are probably going to tell you that South Red Deer is more desirable than the north end of the city. However, that is a matter of perspective. But anyways, we're going to dive into some of the more popular neighborhoods to live within the south end of the section. So let's get started up in the northeastern section of the south end of the city. We're going to take a look at two neighborhoods. We're going to talk about Clearview Ridge and Garden Heights. Now, this whole section of the city on this northeast corner, it's all really good. So there's Timberstone, Evergreen, Garden Heights, Clearview Ridge, all really good options. But let's start off by talking about Clearview Ridge. Now, both of these neighborhoods, it's all going to be newer. So most of the homes are going to be built from 2010 all the way up to 2023. Clearview Ridge is arguably one of the most walkable neighborhoods within the city. So if you're looking for convenience, if you're looking to have a lot of amenities and different things right within your neighborhood, Clearview Ridge may be the best. So this neighborhood has an absolute ton of different amenities. If we take a look at Clearview Market in this area, which is right on the corner of the neighborhood, you have all the major banks, you have Canadian brew houses, you have restaurants, Brown Social House, there's gyms, grocery stores, gas stations. There really isn't anything that you can't find within this little corner of the neighborhood, which is phenomenal. If you don't drive, that is a huge bonus of living in this area. Or if you just want to be close to things, maybe you do drive, but you just want to save on gas and costs throughout the month, this area is phenomenal.
That was awesome.
Now, not only is this neighborhood walkable when it comes to have different amenities and shopping, but if you just go down 67th Street, literally a 5-minute walk, you can be at the Gates Lakes Bird Sanctuary and the Kerrywood Nature Center. And this is a phenomenal area within the city when it comes to having beautiful walking trails and just, a fun area for the kids to do things and explore. It's located right along the river, and there is a lot of really cool trails that, there's a few kilometers that go in a big circle. Lots of people love doing their runs, their walks, really popular area. Now, if we take a look at Garden Heights, which is right across 67th Street, this is another popular area of the city to live in. Now, this is a very small neighborhood, so you're really gonna get to know your neighbor. There's gonna be a really tight community feel there. Lots of big, beautiful homes in this area. Now, what I love about this area as well is you're literally backing on to Mackenzie Trails. So if you wanna walk down through the trees, you can see on the map here, you follow the little green trail, you're gonna end up in Mackenzie Trails. And then of course, because it's right across 67th Street, if you want to head over to the Gates Lakes Bird Sanctuary and the Kerrywood Nature Center, you have access to all those beautiful walking trails as well. So this entire area of the city is great when you want access to some of the beautiful green spaces. Now, there's no immediate shopping within this neighborhood, but as we discussed, if you just hop right across 67th Street, you're going to find Clearview Market, which has a ton of different amenities.
Well, let's do the shopping.
So really popular area of the city to live in, this northeastern section of the south end. Now, if we're looking at potential cons for this area, I'm not too sure about Garden Heights, but I do know that Clearview Ridge, for some reason, it has the shittiest cell service sometimes within the city. I have a buddy that every time he calls me, I just dread it because I know he lives in Clearview Ridge and his cell phone cuts in and out all the time. And I used to work at Station 4 on the fire department, and which is also right in the area. And there'd be literally times where I'd have to kind of walk around the outside of the building to figure out where I'm going to get a cell signal so I can make a call.
What number did you call?
249er.
Were you calling from a walkie-talkie?
No, it was cordless.
Something to consider if you think of moving to this area, but it is absolutely a very popular area and a great place to live within this southern section of the city. All right, let's head to the opposite end of this southern section. Let's go to the southwest corner and let's take a look at Westlake. Now, this is one of my favorite neighborhoods within the city. All single family detached homes, so you're not gonna have a big apartment complex. If you're looking out your back window or sitting on your deck, it's not gonna be blocking your view. All single family detached homes. Homes were built 2000 to 2010, so it is a newer neighborhood. Now, there is a lot of cool things that come with living in this neighborhood. First off, It's got a little bit of a younger demographic, lots of young families in this area, but you have access to a lot of really cool things just within walking distance, which makes this a really cool area. So one of the best things about living here is you have access to Heritage Ranch. It's literally within the neighborhood, which is arguably one of the best parks within the city. There's so many beautiful walking trails that go down along the river. There's 2 playgrounds. One is huge for the kids. There's horses there. You can go horseback riding. It is just a really cool area. Down within the park itself, there's Mitchell Pond. You see a lot of people fishing. So this area of the city, or this park within the city, is one of the most popular, and you can walk there literally within a couple minutes if you're living within this area. And another cool thing about living in this area, which a lot of people don't realize, is that if you just walk through the trees on the other side of the neighborhood, you can walk down to the Cronquist Business Park, and down in this business park, there's a ton of things, really cool things that you can go to. So Troubled Monk Brewery is down there, which is a really popular brewery. So if you want to have a few beers and walk home, you have that option. There's the Dose Coffee Shop, which is nestled right along the river. So great place to enjoy a coffee, checking out the scenery. There's lots of walking paths down there. There's just tons of different things. Pure Earth Organics, that's where the cheap theater is. Carnival Cinemas. I mean, I love going to Galaxy Cinemas. You know, it's got the big comfy chairs and the big screens, but holy shit, it's $100 to take the family there. So the cheap theater is a great option down there.
Were you watching Spank Revision? Maybe you were watching a movie with that funny comedian. Oh, what's his name? Buddy Wackett?
There's just a ton of different amenities down there, which makes this area of the city just kind of like a cool, trendy area to live in. Now, I said that Westlake is one of my favorite neighborhoods, and it probably would be my favorite if it wasn't for one major con of living in this area. So if we look at some drone footage, you're not too far away from Highway 2. So depending on where you're living within that neighborhood, how close you are to Highway 2, that highway noise is going to be an issue. And within that neighborhood, there's always, no matter where you live, just a slight hum of highway noise. So that could be a con to you. It might not bother you at all depending on where you live now and what you're coming from, but that is a potential con of living in this neighborhood. All right, let's hop over to the next neighborhood. And this is one of the most popular neighborhoods within the city. And in my opinion, it is the nicest older neighborhood within Red Deer. Let's take a look at Sunnybrook. Now, this neighborhood is super, super desirable. If you like the older neighborhoods, this is definitely one that you're going to want to check out. Again, I love older neighborhoods for the mature trees and the bigger lots. And within this one, trees in there, they're phenomenal. They're awesome. I love driving through there. It's just a different feel. Even though you're in a very central location within the south end of the city, it kind of still has this secluded feel to it. So if we look on the south end of Sunnybrook, it's actually still a quarter section of farmland. Now, this will be developed in the future. They reserved a lot of the space to continue as a green space, but there will be some development going on there in the future. And if we look at the west side of this neighborhood, which is one of the reasons why it's so popular, is you have access to some beautiful, beautiful walking trails that run along Piper Creek. So these can take you all the way down to the river if you want to go that far. Now, we talked about the location of Sunnybrook, which is very, very central. What I like about it is that you're not right on Gates Avenue, so you're not going to get that busyness and the busy feel that comes with being close to Gates Avenue like you might get if you're living in Bauer. But you're only a few minute walk if you want to access some of the shopping on there. And if you want to walk just through the trees, and we'll throw up some drone footage there, you can walk through the trees in about 5 to 10 minutes. You can be at Bauer Mall. So even though you are very central, it feels like you're very secluded, you still have easy access to some of the best shopping within the city. Now, the demographic in this neighborhood is a little bit more of a mix. There's a lot of older people and retirees looking to retire in this neighborhood. However, that doesn't mean it's not great for young families as well. You will find young families in there. There is an elementary school called GW Harris. So this is absolutely one of the most popular neighborhoods to live within the city.
Oh, that's a great city.
Let's head over to the southeastern section of Red Deer. Now, this whole section of the city is phenomenal. You have many, many great neighborhoods. Lancaster, Anders, Englewood, they're all phenomenal. But we're going to look at 2 neighborhoods. Let's take a look at Vanier East and Laredo. Vanier East holds a little bit of a special spot in my heart. This is where I own my second home. I lived there for quite a long time, and I absolutely loved living in this area for a couple reasons. Number one, it's a very young area of the city. Now, very vibrant, very energetic. You're going to find families and kids out playing everywhere. There's lots of parks within the area. Now, within Vanier East itself, There's a cool park. There's actually two right in this huge green space. So there's one for the older children and then a smaller one for the younger kids, and it's surrounded by homes, so it has a very safe feel to it. My kids were out playing all the time. I would let them go to the park. We lived right across the street on Van Slyke Way, and I didn't feel ever like it was unsafe to let them go to the park on their own. You're in the very southeast section of the city in both of these neighborhoods, so you're about as far away as you can get from all the hustle and bustle and some of the riffraff that comes from living downtown. Not to be insensitive. Now, both of these neighborhoods are going to be on the newer side. Laredo is going to be a little bit newer than Vanier East. This is actually where you're going to find a lot of new construction going on within the city. Again, Laredo is a lot like Vanier East with tons of young families. So this whole area of the city just has a very young, vibrant, energetic feel to it. And right between the two neighborhoods, there's also another big green space with parks and playgrounds. Some of the cons, or some of the perceived cons of living in a newer neighborhood, is a lot of the times you don't get the more beautiful, mature walking trails like you would in Sunnybrook. However, there still is a ton of paved walking trails within this area, which makes it great for the kids who are on their bikes, on their scooters, on their rollerblades. And we'll throw up some drone footage to you so you can see everything. Now, these walking trails, there's a lot around man-made lakes. They run throughout the neighborhood, and they run all the way down the east side of the city. Now, even though this is a great area for young families, and I talk about how young the demographic is there, there's still some good options for seniors in this area. In my opinion, it has one of the best 55 plus communities in the city, and that's on Vista Close. So beautiful semi-detached bungalows, big lots. They were done by True Line Builders. A great area for seniors to live in as well.
Is that true?
That's what I heard.
This area of the city is probably my favorite area of the city. All right, let's head a little bit farther north of Vanier East and Laredo, and let's touch on Rosedale and Deer Park now. I kind of include these two together because they almost feel like they're identical neighborhoods. They border each other. They're built in the 1980s and 1990s, so they're not quite as old as neighborhoods like Sunnybrook, who were built in the 1960s in that neighborhood. But what you do find in that time frame from the 80s and 90s is a lot of diversity in floor plans, which I really like. So 3, 4, 5 level splits, bi-levels, bungalows, these neighborhoods have it all. There are a ton of green spaces within the neighborhood, and if you look just on the northern border of Rosedale, you have Timberstone, which has Timberstone Market, and right across the way is Clearview Market, which we just talked about in this video. So if you want to be close to shopping and amenities, it's great for that. And then south of Deer Park, we have things like the Collicutt Center, which is in the Lancaster neighborhood, which is very close. So one of the more popular rec centers within the city. It's got wave pools, running tracks, field houses, gyms, daycare, anything that you can think of, a very popular rec center. And both of these neighborhoods are on the very eastern border of the city. There's nothing any further. So very quiet feel to them. They got a very clean feel to them. You're away from Gates Avenue and everything that's downtown. So just nice, quiet, safe neighborhoods. Now, again, we only touched on a handful of neighborhoods in South Red Deer. There is a lot of really good areas to live in. So remember, just because it wasn't on this video doesn't mean it isn't a fabulous area to live. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please hit the like button if you did, and I'd really love it if you guys would subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you have any other questions, you need more information on what the neighborhoods are like or where to live in Red Deer, I am a realtor in the area, so use this info on the screen. Get a hold of me any way you want. Would love to hear from you. All right, I'll see you next week, guys. Cheers.